Hey everyone, welcome to another video. Today I am reviewing the Safari Ltd Prehistoric Life Tube. And before I get started, I just want to say that I'm going to be reviewing two versions of this set, so you'll understand what I mean when I move on to the second set. So this set here is probably the most special and most important set to me because it's the first set of prehistoric animals that I ever got, so my collection of prehistoric animals started off with this set right here. And I really like it. It's one of my favorites. It has an interesting collection of prehistoric animals and early humans, so let's get right into the review. So first let's start off with this saber-toothed cat right here. Yeah, this is a smaller version of the Safari Ltd Smilodon figure. And it's one of my favorites because the pose, it's very dramatic. So this cat is obviously at a very aggressive state right now. So he's clawing and roaring at, who knows, maybe another rival saber-tooth. Maybe he's roaring at his prey or a much larger predator like a short-faced bear or American lion. So yeah, this cat's very vicious right now. So let's start off with the face and the head. Pretty nicely crafted. I like the design of the head, the snout, and then his mouth is open wide. Yes, saber-toothed cats are famously known for opening their mouths wider than any other cat, up to 120 degrees wide, which gives it room for those saber teeth to bite down. Yeah, the bigger the cat, the bigger the teeth, so the record size of these teeth could be up to 12 inches long, but only like 6 or 7 inches of the teeth would be exposed. So yeah, he could open his mouth wide enough to allow those saber teeth to bite down, and then you could see the lower fangs on his bottom jaw. So yeah, his mouth is open wide and his teeth are exposed. And then his eyes, pretty nicely crafted for the eye sockets. And then his ears are perked down, so yeah, he's not exactly happy. He's very aggressive right now. Yeah, the head is nicely crafted. And then the nose. And then we go down to his very muscular neck. Kind of looks a little short, but very muscular. And then to the rest of his body. Pretty nicely crafted, an accurate representation of what saber-tooth would have looked like. Very muscular, robust body with short, stocky, muscular legs. So yeah, the way his legs are positioned, it's a very dramatic pose. He's standing on his 3 feet and then using his other paw swiping. So yeah, look at those claws. Yeah, it's pretty nicely crafted. I really like the way it's crafted. So yeah, the saber-tooth has a very muscular body build, kind of similar to a bear. It was a very strong and very muscular cat, which it enabled it to bring down large prey such as mammoths, mastodons, ground sloths, and bison. So yeah, it was a beautifully designed animal capable of bringing down large prey. And it probably didn't do it alone, because there is evidence out there that suggests that saber-toothed cats may have lived in social groups a lot like lions do. So yeah, and then there's a bob-shaped tail. He has it curled up, so yeah, this cat's at a very aggressive state right now. So yeah, the pose and the design is nice, but the paint job is what I'm really fascinated with. I think they took the term saber-toothed tiger a little too literal here, because he's got a kind of a reddish orangey fur coat, and then he's got tiger stripes. So yeah, you can see the stripes from his tail, stripes going down from the side of his back. And then he's got stripes on his head, and then stripes in between his eyes. And then he's got stripes right there on near his shoulders. And then he's got a white underbelly from his tail to his legs, and then to his snout. And then you can see the inside of the mouth is kind of a pinkish color in there. So yeah, I guess you could call it an actual saber-toothed tiger, because it's a saber-tooth and he has the fur coat design of a tiger. But yeah, The paint job isn't exactly accurate because Saber-tooth was not a tiger. So yeah, the Saber-tooth is a pretty nicely crafted. This was a pretty big cat. They were pretty big. They are the largest species of saber-toothed cats. So yeah, the saber-toothed cats lived in both North and South America, but the North American species was the largest, probably about 30% larger than today's lions. So yeah, pretty nicely crafted figure, one of my favorite saber-toothed cat designs. So yeah, we have the saber-toothed cat, and the paint job is nicely done. So we got the saber-toothed cat right there, and then we have a woolly mammoth, which is another very dramatically posed designed animal. It's another one of my favorite mammoth figures. So let's start off with the head. He doesn't appear to be at a very peaceful state, maybe a little panicked or aggressive. So yeah, it's another pretty nicely crafted animal. You can see the head, the bulky head, which is a characteristic of a mammoth. And it's got its short ears, which were good for helping it regulate its body temperature. And then his mouth is held open, and then his trunk is held up, so he's probably trumpeting. And then he's got these pretty nicely crafted tusks, pretty impressive set of tusks. So yeah, the trunk design, the tusks, and the head, it's pretty nicely crafted, and then very cool detail in the eyes. Yeah, and I use these tusks to remove rich vegetation. It could uncover the rich vegetation from what's buried underneath the snow. So yeah, the saber-tooth may have been the most iconic predator of the Ice Age, but the woolly mammoth was the most iconic animal of the Ice Age. It's pretty much the mascot of the Ice Age. So yeah, the head is nicely designed, but then as we go to the rest of the body, it's got that arched shoulder, which is another characteristic of the mammoth, and it slopes down to right here. The tail's pretty nicely crafted, and the way his feet are positioned flat on the ground. Yeah, these figures stand up pretty well. So yeah, the mammoth figure is really nicely crafted, and then I also like the fur details. Pretty nice fur details. You could see the thick layers of fur. So yeah, woolly mammoths had a thick layer of fat and then long fur. That their characteristic woolly, shaggy fur coat, which could measure up to 1 meter in length. Yeah, these creatures lived in cold, frigid temperatures of the Ice Age. You could find them almost all over the northern hemisphere, in North America, and Europe, and Asia, Canada. So yeah, this was a pretty hardy creature of the Ice Age. So yeah, another nicely crafted figure of the woolly mammoth, one of my favorites. His fur color is pretty dark. Kind of reminds me of the mammoths from the Walking with Beasts series. And then if you look, you can see kind of brownish colors scattered in some places. So yeah, pretty nicely crafted mammoth figure. An ancient ancestor of the elephants. And then we have the Andrewsarchus. Yeah, this creature kind of looks like a hyena or a wolf with the fur color of a tiger. Yeah, it's a nice paint job. The Andrewsarchus figure is pretty nicely crafted. And I've seen this figure get mixed up with the thylacine or the Tasmanian tiger figure, but this is actually Andrewsarchus, because these figures actually have the names of these animals embedded underneath their underbelly. So yeah, the saber-tooth and the mammoth had saber-toothed tiger and woolly mammoth under them, and then this one has Andrewsarchus. And it says it's Safari Ltd, made in China, which is what all the figures say. So yeah, let's start off with the head. We don't really know exactly what Andrewsarchus looked like, given that we have only found the head of this animal. So yeah, The top of the skull is all we have of this creature, so we don't really know what the rest of it look like. So yeah, the head is nicely designed. It's kind of a dog-like or kind of bear-like. And then you can see its nose and then its teeth. Had a very powerful bite, sharp teeth. And then his ears and his eyes are pretty nicely crafted. And then his formation is, he appears to be walking with very long strides of his legs. And these kind of look like paws, but they think Andrewsarchus actually had more like hooves. They think it was a hoofed predator. And some actually consider it an actual sheep in wolf's clothing, but others say that this creature was more closely related to whales or hippos. And then it's got that long tail, kind of looks like a lion's tail with a tuft of fur at the end. So yeah, this is a pretty cool looking creature. Kind of looks like a hyena or a wolf mixed with a tiger because the fur coat, the colors are pretty nicely done. It's got white underbelly, kind of similar to the Saber-toothed white underbelly. And then it's got kind of like a tiger fur coat. It's got an orange color with stripes. Also reminds me of the Andrewsarchus from the Walking with Beasts series. So yeah, this Andrewsarchus figure is pretty nicely crafted. It was found by an explorer named Roy Chapman Andrews, which is why they named it after the founder. And I believe the name Andrewsarchus means Andrew's chief. So yeah, a lot of animals have very unique names, like Smilodon means knife tooth, and then Andrewsarchus means Andrew's chief. So yeah, this was a pretty cool find, and then the skull measured up to about 1 meter in length, so this animal was not small. It was probably about 6 to 7 feet tall and maybe 13 feet long. So yeah, this was thought to be one of the largest carnivorous land mammals to ever roam the earth. See, Andrewsarchus is a pretty cool creature. And then we've got a giant ground sloth, Macrauchenia. Another nicely crafted figure with a pose. It kind of looks more like a Godzilla pose, if I say so myself. So yeah, pretty nicely crafted ground sloth. And when you think of an Ice Age sloth, you're probably thinking of Sid the Sloth, but sloths weren't really that small or funny looking. They were these big, massive animals. Yeah, the smallest species I've ever heard of was probably about the size of a grizzly bear, while the largest species was about the size of elephants. So yeah, this creature we have here is a giant sloth, Macrauchenia, which was the largest species of sloth that lived in South America, while smaller species lived in North America. And this was a gentle giant, but unlike its modern-day descendants, the tree sloths, this creature fed upon the trees but didn't climb in them. So yeah, pretty nicely crafted figure. You can see the mouth, the eyes, the small ears. Kind of looks more like a bear. And then the sloth, the nostrils, mouth. And then we go down from the neck, and then you got these long arms with long claws at the end of them. Their claws could grow up to nearly 1 meter in length. And then sloths had a very, very powerful build. Males were probably very big, and then adults their body design was indestructible. Predators probably couldn't take down this sloth pretty easily. And then he's standing on his hind legs using his tail for balance like a kangaroo. Probably standing up to make himself look bigger to fend off predators, or he's probably just trying to reach some leafy greens high up in the trees. So yeah, this sloth's fur design and fur color is kind of similar to the mammoths, kind of dark blackish with brown kind of scattered in some places. So yeah, this sloth figure is pretty nicely crafted, one of my favorite sloth figures. So yeah, we got the giant ground sloth, which is another iconic animal of the Ice Age. And then the name Megatherium means giant beast. And then we've got the Didicurus, which is an extinct species of armadillo. Another one of my favorite Ice Age animal figures. You see he's got the head of an armadillo and then the shell. Pretty protective shell, and then his short legs. Yeah, very bizarre, very bizarrely big armadillo. And then he's got that tail with the spikes at the end of it. And their tails, the end of their tails could probably weigh as much as a cannonball. So yeah, Didicurus was probably about the size of a car. Pretty big armadillo. And they were also found in South America amongst ground sloths and saber-toothed cats. Yeah, and then the color design, kind of like a orangey, yellowish, brownish color. And then you see kind of, if you look very carefully, you could see spots of blue scattered everywhere. And then he's got blue toenails, toe columns. So yeah, pretty bizarre mammal. The armadillo head, the tail, the shell. Another bizarrely crafted animal. I like the design, nicely crafted. His eyes, his nose, his ears. Yeah, this creature was well protected with body armor. Yeah, Didicurus, I believe, means pestled tail. Yeah, another pretty nicely crafted, and I believe it's like the Megatherium, the Saber-tooth, and the Mammoth. This is also a smaller representation of the Safari Ltd Didicurus figure. So yeah, the Saber-tooth, the Mammoth, and the ground sloth, and this giant armadillo also have their much larger versions of them. They're much larger figures of Safari Ltd. And then we've got Arsenotherium right here. And yes, it does look like a type of rhino, but I've heard that it's actually more closely related to elephants. So yeah, looks can be deceiving. A creature that looks like a rhino, but is actually more related to elephants. But yeah, it's pretty rhino-like. It's got those two horns on the top. I guess you could say it was the Triceratops of the Cenozoic era. And then it's got those two horns right there, two long horns in the front. And then his head is pretty rhino-like. The mouth, the eyes, the nostrils, and then the ears. And then the way the body is designed. The back, and then the tail. And then his legs, he appears to just be walking, or maybe he's getting ready to charge. And then the skin details, you see carvings in them. It's pretty rhino-like, but yeah, it's actually more closely related to elephants. And then I've seen this design before, the way the animal is posed. I've seen the same design in the Embelodon figure of Safari Ltd. And then this pose was also used for the Mastodon in Safari Ltd. So yeah, the Mastodon and the Embelodon figure from Safari Ltd are kind of posed the same way as this Arsenotherium is. But yeah, I really like the skin details, the way the legs are positioned, the head, the horns. Yeah, Arsenotherium, another very bizarre creature. Looks can be deceiving, and sometimes it's not always what it may seem like. And then we've got the Macrauchenia, another bizarrely shaped animal. Appears to have the body of a horse with a long neck and then the head of an anteater. Yeah, this creature lived in South America amongst saber-tooth, the giant ground sloth, and giant armadillo. And then, so he got that head, he's kind of got like a head of an anteater. He's got the mouth and then that long trunk which he used for stripping leaves from the trees. And then that ear. So yeah, pretty bizarre animal. And then we got his long neck, which goes down to the rest of his body, kind of looks like a horse. The back, the tail, the legs. He appears to just be standing there. And then the detail in his feet, his hooves kind of have like 3 toe columns. And then the wrinkles in his skin, and then his tail. And then the paint job is pretty nice. Pretty well blended colors. He's got kind of white underneath, and then kind of a brownish orangey color. And then he's got a pretty dark brown color on his trunk. And then brown on his tail. So yeah, this is another nicely crafted figure, the Macrauchenia. Another very bizarre animal. And then we got some early humans. This is a caveman with a spear. Pretty dramatic pose. He's using his hand to aim up at something to throw the spear. And he's kind of got long hair. And then his ears, and then the details in his face are nicely crafted. With his eyes, his nose, his mouth, and then he has a beard. And then his neck, and then the way his arms are positioned, one's holding the spear, getting ready to throw it while he's using his other arm to aim. He has hands, a nice detail in his hands, his fingers. And then his chest. Yeah, and his skin is pretty dark colored, and then the way his legs are positioned. Yeah, he's getting ready to throw that spear at something. And then his clothing, he's just got pants made of an animal's hide. And then he's got this platform to help him stand up, which is kind of a greenish color, dark green. So yeah, pretty nicely crafted figure. You could use him to, I don't know, maybe hunt the much larger version of the Safari Ltd woolly mammoth. Or who knows, maybe he's aiming up at this saber-toothed cat who's getting ready to attack him on top of a mountain, getting ready to leap down on him. So yeah, maybe he's getting a little defensive about that. So yeah, this caveman figure, another dramatically posed figure. Yeah, human hunter. And then we've got a caveman, or a cave woman and her child. Yeah, she's holding onto his hand, and then she's got a stick in her hand. So yeah, she has a lot more clothing, and then her hair, and then the details in her face. And then her clothing, and then her legs. So yeah, she's just standing there holding onto her child, a little boy. With his long hair and the details in his face and his chest and his arms. And they're both standing on this platform to help them stand up, and it's also dark green. So yeah, we got a family of cavemen. The mom, the dad, and then the child. So yeah, pretty nicely crafted figures. And then we've got a pine tree. Another pretty nicely crafted figure. The trunk, and then the way it roots into the ground. Yeah, the tree, also nicely paint job. You can see the details in the tree, the pine tree. So yeah, it's just you can use it for the diorama setting if you want to use rocks and trees to set up your diorama set and set up all your animals around them. And then we've got a volcano. Yeah, you could see the mountain, and then you can see a bunch of rocks, giant rocks sitting at the bottom, and then lava spewing out of it. Pretty nice design in the rocks. So yeah, it's a volcano and lava, and it's erupting. Yeah, pretty nice shade of colors. Kind of got light gray color rocks, and then the volcano itself is kind of like a dark gray, and then got kind of orangey reddish lava spewing out. And then we got a campfire. There's 2 sticks holding up a piece of meat that is cooking above the fire. Yeah, black deals right here, and then the fire itself, kind of like a reddish color right here, and then more orangey color on the top, and then it's cooking a chunk of meat, probably mammoth meat. So yeah, pretty nicely crafted. So yeah, this is the Safari Ltd Prehistoric Life Tube, and when I said I was going to get onto the second collection, I mean it's the same collection but just different paint jobs, and I'll show you what I mean. So I'm not gonna go over the pose designs, I'm just gonna go over the color. So we got this Saber-toothed Cat. It's just the same as this one. They're both posed the same way, except they just got different color designs, different paint jobs. And I say the paint job on this one is much more accurate than the tiger design on the other saber-tooth. It's kind of got like a lightish, brownish color, kind of similar to a lion's fur coat. And then it's got the brown, kind of got brown stripes. So yeah, I really like this figure a lot better because it's a more accurate fur color, what the saber-toothed cat's fur color might have looked like. And then I actually had to fix the paint job a little, so the striped paint job was kind of faded, so I just used Sharpie to darken the color, and then the teeth, the paint job on the teeth weren't very nicely done, so I just fixed that with my acrylic paint. But other than that, yeah, it's kind of got a white underbelly as well. But yeah, the paint job was kind of cheapy, so I kind of fixed that, but it's a more accurate representation of what Saber-tooth's fur color might have looked like. And then the Mammoth has more of like a brownish, very light brown fur color. Yeah, so the other Mammoth had a very dark fur color, and this Mammoth has a very light brown fur color. But both are posed the same. This one actually came with a much better paint job, and the tusks are the same. Both white tusks, and then they're both posed the same, but this Mammoth's much darker, and this Mammoth's kind of like a very lightish brown fur color. And then the Andrewsarchus, its color kind of similar to the Saber-tooth's, and it's got its black stripes. But yeah, this one also had a very cheap paint job, mostly with the stripes, so I just darkened the stripes with my acrylic paint. And then I also added white spots on the teeth. So yeah, the Andrewsarchus compared to this Andrewsarchus. So yeah, you can see the difference in the paint job. This one's orange with white underneath it. And then this one also has very little white underneath it, but yeah, this one's a much lighter color than this one. So yeah, the Andrewsarchus paint job. And then the Macrauchenia, the giant sloth, is almost kind of like a very, very lightish brown color with his black eyes. So yeah, this one's also kind of like the same color as the Mammoth. And then this one, you can really see the real change in the fur color. So yeah, this one's kind of a very lightish brown, and this one's very dark blackish brown. And then we got the Didacurus, kind of, they're kind of the same color, except this one looks more like a muddy, kind of like a muddy color, like more dirty. Yeah, it looks like this guy's been splashing around in the mud. So yeah, they're kind of the same color, except this one just has like a very muddy paint job. Yeah, you could see kind of like the yellowish orangey color, but then you see spots of brown scattered everywhere, like he's been rolling in the mud. And then the Arsenotherium, this lighter color, it's a much lighter gray color compared to this darker gray color. And then the black specks on his eyes. So yeah, not too much of a difference, just the color of gray is much lighter than the other one. And then the Macrauchenia colors. Yeah, this one's a much lighter color than this one, kind of has white underneath it. So yeah, very different paint job. Much lighter color. Kind of like a very lightish, yellowish, orangey color. And then with the cave people, Yeah, this guy has a skin color much lighter than this guy. But other than that, everything else seems to be the same color except for the platform. It's also the same color as the man's skin, while this one's kind of green. So yeah, another difference in color. And then the same thing with the cave woman and her child, different skin color, but still the same color clothing, but different colored platforms. So yeah, they're all still the same design, just different paint color, paint jobs. And then with the trees, the leaves and the pine tree is still the same color, but the difference is this tree trunk is like a dark brown, and then this one's kind of like a light brown tree trunk. So you have different, not much of a difference other than just the tree trunks. And then the volcanoes, yeah, this one's kind of more like a brownish color compared to this grayish colored volcano. The lava is the same color, but the mountain and the rocks are a different color. And then with the campfire, the fire seems to be a slightly different color, but the meat seems to be the same color. And then the deal that's holding the meat is, this one's black and then this one's kind of a lightish brown. So yeah, the designs are exactly the same, just different paint job colors. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Those are all the figures from the Safari Ltd Prehistoric Life Tube set, and this is absolutely my favorite Safari Ltd set. Like I said, it's the first collection of prehistoric animals I got, so that makes it very special to me. This is what my collection started off with. And pretty nicely crafted figures, very accurate representation of what these animals would have really looked like. And so yeah, they don't just have Cenozoic animals, they got caveman, the volcano, the tree, and the campfire. Now what I would have liked a little better was they can keep the caveman, the cavewoman, and the campfire, but I would have liked more prehistoric animals and just replaced them with the volcano and the tree. Like, I don't know, maybe a woolly rhino figure or American mastodon figure. But other than that, I think this is a really nice design. I got this at Michael's. I absolutely freaked out when I saw these at Michael's hanging on the shelf with the other Safari Ltd sets, so I just had to get them. They were each $10. So yeah, the two with these colored animals are $10, and then the one with the lighter colors were also $10 at Michael's. So yeah, I think they were pretty nicely crafted figures, one of my favorites, well crafted. And unfortunately, I don't think I see these at Michael's anymore, so if you want to get these, you probably have to order them online. But so yeah, that's it for now, folks. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more, and I'll see you guys later.